Baji Bahadurji, I'll hand over to you now. Thank you.
Thank you. What is our purpose of life? Is it simply to eat, sleep, and be merry? Or is there a bigger purpose in our life? The divine scriptures guide us. That over time we have been polluted by the forces of Maya. That we have lost our identity. And the challenge has become to rise and know ourselves beyond the music of Maya to which we all dance. The source of our pain, and to liberate ourselves from this pain of separation, to rise above the three modes of our human nature, above our human consciousness and activity, and merge into the divine. In this illusionary world of Maya, our focus, our dhyan, has been polluted by the glitz and the glamour and the hopes and the expectations from others, and by the influence of the five demons: Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar. Lust, anger, frustration, attachment, ego. And in the waves of the expectations arising from the five demons of Maya, we have lost sight of the purpose of our existence. Prophets and scriptures of all religions remind us one simple fact: that there are only so many hours in a day and only so many days in your life. To look at yourself, to reflect. Because a time will come, we will have to cross the threshold of this illusion of life, enter the jaws of death, and go beyond. And for those who have understood this play, this game, for them lies a beautiful world of light. And others who got lost in the dense fog of Maya, the journey of 8.4 million lives will carry on. Dokha, Sokha, Karta, Janamu, Fonamuva. Life after life, the same pains. Those who are lucky enough to find refuge, a sanctuary in the Sangat of the pious, will be blessed guided out of this Maya maze. And those who are fast asleep in this illusion will lay absolutely trapped. When we were in our mother's womb, we were connected and protected by the Shabd, by the divine word. And our dhyan, our focus in the Shabd was 100%, unpolluted. And then we were born. And the moment we open our eyes and our ears begin to function, Maya started to take hold. And that attachment with the divine, this dhyan, also known as live shudki, laggi trishna, Maya amar vartaya. As this live broke, there came a rise of desires. Live shudki, laggi trishna, and in this, Maya has weaved its web. Successfully, it broke your dhyan from the Shabd. And this little innocent newborn baby has now fallen in the trap of Maya. And this carries on as we grow up. And detached from the divine source, we became caged into the walls of Maya by the chains of the senses. And the shadows in this cave became our reality. And as a consequence, the true nature of who we really are, our objective, our purpose, our opportunity towards liberation, all evaporates into thin air. Those who have found company of pious souls, their dhyan slowly is realigned, reinforced through the blessings and the teachings. And the path of liberation opens up for them. But in the first instance, dhyan, focus. Let's reflect. During the day, this mind is relentless. It's a machine that generates thoughts. By the evening, how many thoughts do we remember? In certain fields of science, it says that the human mind generates around 50,000 to 60,000 thoughts a day. How many thoughts do we actually remember? The only thoughts we remember are those thoughts which have a significant impact on us. Otherwise, many, many thousands of thoughts, we have no awareness. We are fast asleep. And those are the thoughts that sink into us and creates the Maya character within us. So the first teaching is dhyan. Bring your focus back. My master used to say to me, son, yes, you have to live in this world, but don't become attached to this world. Only once breaking your attachment from this world, it doesn't mean you take your responsibilities away. No, we are talking about that attachment which is born from Maya. Only when those attachments have been cut will your focus, your dhyan, become strong. Why dhyan? Dhyan gives rise to Gyan. Dhyan and Gyan. What is Gyan? Gyan is divine knowledge in the spiritual sense, or just simply knowledge in the worldly sense. Where your focus is, there your knowledge will be. And the more our focus is in the divine, in the Sangat, the deeper and the more beautiful our Gyan will become. And slowly over time, as our Dhyan becomes solid, completely focused, so will our Gyan become strong. And as our Gyan, spiritual knowledge becomes strong, an awakening, Jagrta, a process of Jagrta will begin. Because for the first time, we have knowledge that this world is not good for us. This world is the source of our pain. So now I must find refuge in my religion, in my teachings. And now, an awakening. And for the first time, we will begin to reflect that maybe we are not who we think we are. How many of us go to live our life, go to the temples, go to the church, do our meditation, and yet the moment we finish our meditation, finished, we are not even present in our meditation. That Dhyan will be gathered. And now we will start to search for a higher purpose. In earnest, a search on how to take the first step towards our liberation. Inspired by true spiritual masters. However, there is one sad fact in the world that we live in. In Kal Yuga, there are many fake masters, teachers. Many fake teachers. So you become exposed to the world of countless false teachings. And you know the sad thing in all this is that they are trying to teach you a path that they have never experienced themselves. They have not spent time with preordained masters. And yet, they are happily and openly giving advice on Dhyan, Gyan, and other aspects of spirituality. And in Kal Yuga, true pious souls who had no personal gain other than simply to guide others became far and few. As a consequence, these fake teachers started representing themselves as Babas and Gurus. They became the representatives of the divine on earth. They started creating systems in which the majority of beautiful, innocent people were held in subjugation through fear. Caste systems created, status, religious oppression by the so-called priestly class were created. Certain sects propagated that they were the chosen ones. Certain religions advocated that they were the chosen ones. And certain priestly class decided who could pray and who could not, who could enter the house of the divine and who could not, who could attain liberation and which caste would remain in subjugation. There is one such incident which is narrated in the Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Namdev was a saint. born in October 1270. In the village of Narsvamani, near Ondha temple in Maharashtra, India. On one occasion, he went to Ondha Nagnath temple. This temple is also known as Abandha Nagnath temple. He rose up early in the morning, he had his shower, and his heart full of joy, excited that he was going to visit the home of his Divine Father and pray in the congregation. So early morning, he left. Each step Namdev took was in remembrance of the Divine. He comes to the temple, excited. He heard the sound of the congregation singing the divine hymns. He takes his shoes off and, as a mark of respect, covers his head and enters the temple. The morning prayer ceremony was being performed by the Brahmins. Brahmins are the priestly caste in India, the self-proclaimed representatives of God. And as Namdev was about to pray, he sat down and he closed his eyes. He was about to pray. A group of Brahmins came, these Brahmin priests. They grabbed him by the arms. They pushed and kicked him onto the temple floor. Then they dragged him out of the temple, battered, bruised, and in physical and emotional pain, tears running down his cheeks. All the joy he came with turned into anguish, confusion as to what had happened. He gets up, dusts himself down, and makes his way towards the backside of the temple. He closes his eyes and with an aching heart, he starts talking to the Divine. My Lord, I came to you with a joyful heart to pray to you. Yet I was beaten and driven out by those who represent you. What wrong did I do? Did you not see how they beat me in your house? Did you not see how they dragged me out of your house? My Lord, did you not feel my pain? Did you see the river flow of my tears? Did you feel the bruises that are in my heart? And he's crying loudly, uncontrollably. My Lord, if I was not allowed to enter your house, if I was not allowed to pray to you, if I was going to get thrown out of your house because of my low caste, then why did you play a game with me? Why did you plant so much love for you in my heart that I cannot live without you, and at the same time send me to a home of Ashimba, the low caste fabric dyer, and I cannot pray for you in your home? Namdev narrates this painful event in the Gurbani. Hasat khelat tere dehore aaya. I came to your temple with a joy in my heart. Bhagata karte nama pakare uthaya. While Namdev was worshipping, I was grabbed and driven out. Hinari jat meri jat maraya. I am of a low social class, my Lord. Sheepe ke janam kahe ko aaya. Why was I born into a family of fabric dyers? Le kamali chaleo paltaye. I picked up my blanket and went back to the temple. Dehre pache betha jaye. To sit behind the temple. Jiyo jiyo nama har gun uchre. As Namdev uttered the praises of the divine, Bhagata jana ka devara fire. The temple turned around to face the Lord's humble devotee. Is turned around to the purity of the heart. And people were amazed as what happened. Even today in Maharashtra, whereas all the temples are facing in one direction, this particular temple is facing in the opposite direction. These are the times we live in, where the truth is hidden in the fog of Maya. Guru Nanak Dev Ji and many other divine prophets and saints challenge this premise. And during their times, they try to break the shackles of organized religion, to break from hypocritical modes of behavior, to break the ring of fake gurus who were preventing you from rising to your higher self, to spread the message of the one, and that anyone can realize and merge back into the infinite without a third party involved. Anyone. That Sangat which connects you to those teachings is pious Sangat, and in that Sangat you must stay and respect. That is known as Sadhu Sangat, Sat Sangat. They taught us that liberation was not a privilege to any one class, any caste, any color, any religion, any rituals, or any country. How well you sang, how well you dressed, how religious you looked, how well you spoke, how well you wrote, nothing. That's got nothing to do with liberation. Through these behaviors, you can fool the world, but you cannot fool the divine. Guru Nanak Dev Ji and the other prophets shone the light of truth in the dense world of hypocrisy. And when Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, higher than the truth is truthful living. So the question is, how serious are we about rising to our higher self? You are sitting here today listening. How serious are you? Do you want to be emancipated? Do you wish to cross this threshold of illusions into a beautiful and peaceful divine light on the other side? You must have desire for that. If you are, then I will share with you some beautiful teachings, the 4 stages of liberation. Today I will share with you the first stage. These teachings I share are from the Guru Bani of Guru Ramadas Ji. This Bani is also known as Lama or Anand Karaj. The word Lama comes from a Punjabi word, and it simply means the merger of the Atma into the Paramtman. Our merger into our Divine Father. The Anand Karaj simply means the ceremony of the union of the soul into the Supersoul. Anand Karaj, a blissful event, a blissful ceremony, an act of blissful union. And the 4 stages of journey of the evolution of the spiritual soul has been described in such a way. The first understanding is that when we were in our mother's womb, we were fully engrossed in the Shabd Naam. And as we were born, Maya took effect. Consequently, our dhyan was compromised. And in this way, our life became like a rudderless boat drifting in the waves of Bhavsagar. So first, refocus our dhyan through a good spiritual teacher. Your dhyan is your spiritual ladder on which you can either climb upwards towards the heavens or down into the dark pits of Maya. So once we've made this assessment that we wish to be liberated, that is where our dhyan is, then the process of the Ananda Karaj starts as follows. Har pehladi lam parvarti karam Dardaya Balaram Jiyo. Pehli lam. The emphasis here is on the word parvarti. What is parvarti karma? Parvarti karma means parvesh. Parvesh means to settle in a certain lifestyle, to find a place in a certain mode of teaching, to adopt the codes and conducts of a certain teacher. Parvesh, to be settled, such as a child, a parent looks at the school, they decide this is the school we would like our child to go to. And then they take the child to the school. Now the child has to settle in this school. The child has to recognize that these are the teachings I have to follow, I have to accept, I have to believe, and I have to work on. That is first step of Parvesh, that the child accepts that school. He has registered or she has registered into this school. This is known as Parvesh. Now, by being present in the school is not going to give you the qualification or the degree. So the second stage of Parvesh is to start listening to the teacher, to have presence of mind in front of the teacher. Now, at this stage, we need to ask one question. Are we settled in one school of thought, or are we just jumping here, there, and everywhere? We have to ask that question. If we are jumping from one thought to another, from one teaching to another, from one ideology to another, you haven't started. The first step has to be acceptance of one set of teachings. And then to absorb yourself in the teachings of the teacher. And then to implement those teachings as homework in our daily living with the presence of mind. That is our first step. In spiritual terms, we find that Sangat, that teacher to whom we want to learn from, and you block everything else out, you fall into that teaching, you have accepted that teaching in totality, you have accepted that the teacher is capable of taking you to the next step and beyond, and now you have stopped running around. This is where your teachings are going to come from. This is Parvarti Karma. This is being Parvesh. And then listening to that one divine teacher. That is your first stage. But in Maya world, we are running around here, there, and everywhere, here, there, and everywhere. Shops, these teaching shops are open. £5, £6, $5, $10. That's what the world is. Then, if you do find a school that you want to learn from, a teacher that you want to spend your time with, then the second stage is Bani Brahma Veda Dharma Derado Aptayaya Balaram Jiyo. Then start understanding the lessons of the teachings of the divine scriptures. Embrace the righteous contact of Dharma and bring into your lives those behaviors that are pleasing to the Lord. Renounce sinful actions and let your mind reflect on the divine name. Enshrine the Lord's name in your mind. That's your second step. Second step from the first step. Then Dharam Dirdo Har Naam Te Avo Simrat Naam Dirdaya. Now remember at all time the teachings of your Divine Lord, the teachings of your Master at all time. Reflect and repeat daily on the Divine Shabd. Simrat Naam Dirdaya. As you go through these steps, then what happens? Satgur Gur Pura Aradho Sab Kelvek Paap Gavaya. Worship and adore the true Guru, the perfect true Guru, whichever Guru you believe in, and all your sins shall be eradicated. These are the steps: school, teaching, homework, adoration. What's worship? Let's understand worship. Worship comes from deep within us. It's an action representing how we feel about our divine God. To worship is a powerful outpouring of our hearts towards the Lord, representing a depth of love and gratitude and devotion that we cannot or we find difficult to put into words. Human language is not broad enough, it's not deep enough, it's not rich enough to describe everything that true worship is. In fact, worship is personal and intimate. That is the worship the teachings are sharing with us. And as our worship becomes more meaningful and sincere, then the process of Sahaj Anand will begin. What is Sahaj Anand? Celestial bliss. Sahaj Anand hua vadbhagi, man har har meetha laya. Slowly, the stage of celestial bliss will be attained, and the name of the Divine Lord, Har Har, or Jesus, or Vaheguru, whichever prophet you believe in, will become sweet to the mind. And that which was once very difficult will become sweet and easy for us. A journey that started by, if you ever see a child and you take your child to a school, the first day that child went to that school, the crying, the resentment, the kicking, I don't want to be here, I don't want to be here. That which was once difficult, to find the Sangha, to sit in that Sangha, to make that decision, this is where I want to learn from, now will become very easy. And a state of bliss will be achieved. Bliss is a state of complete happiness or joy, spiritual joy, heavenly rapture, the ecstasy of salvation. Jan kehe nanak lam pehli, arambh kaj rachaya. Servant Nanak proclaims that in this first round of the marriage ceremony, the spiritual marriage ceremony has begun, that this is only the first stage. So from school to accepting the school, then to understanding, accepting your teacher, then to accept the teachings, then to implement those teachings, then to worship, then to become into a state of bliss and spiritual joy. Now you are prepared for the second stage of your spiritual journey. God bless you all. We will carry on for our second stage of the spiritual journey, and you will have a beautiful understanding that your life, your future is in your hands, and in the Sangat of good souls, where there is no need for self-claim. No personal gains involved, just a heart to give. In that Sangat, find your purpose in life. Understand everything I have explained. This is just simply the first step. God bless you all. Thank you, James.
Thank you, Baji. Beautiful Sangat. A moment to pause.